What is good, ladies and gentlemen? What is good? This is another episode of the Black Baseball Mixtape Podcast. I am your host, Cheats. I am joined on Monday night by the crew, and it's an illustrious, amazing crew as always. Flibbo Voice is in the building. Flibbo, how we feeling?
Well, that's a very complex question this week. I have my health. That's great. The Mets, not so much. Somewhere in the middle. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. That's right. We're going to get into the New York baseball scene. But before we do, all about April, the host of 10th Inning Talk, is in the building. April, how we feeling?
Let's go.
I'm feeling great, ready to talk some baseball, seeing the Astros trying to make a little comeback on the Red Sox. But yeah.
Well, let me tell you one thing we're not going to do, April, and that is we are not going to rip your jersey. Carlos Carrera showing off to the fans of New York, putting his chest out there. Altuve and Carrera back together. It feels like 2017. And they've got a lot of moxie. Malik, speaking of those H-Town heroes, how we feeling, my guy?
Talking about them H-Town villains. The villains are back. I'm feeling good. He's home. This is just weird seeing Correa and Pena right next to each other. So happy to just have the villain come back. And we needed more evil energy this year. We need to be clear again. Because people are starting to disrespect us on all the blogs and stuff. So it's time to come back.
Who? Name names. Who?
Look, before we name names, I want to touch on something before we really get into our show. We got to always thank our sponsors, who are wonderful, wonderful partners of this program. Shout out to the Players Alliance. If you want to catch up on a little bit of what's going on with the Players Alliance, even if you check the blackbaseballmixtape.com today, you will see a brand new blog post about Cross Checkers, their initiative that they launched over All-Star Weekend. I took you behind the curtain on that. So shout out to the Players Alliance. Numbers game scorecard. Speaking of Brewers, which we'll be talking about later in this program, Numbers game scorecards are based in Milwaukee, and they are big, big Brewers fans. Rebellion Harvest Sunflower Seeds. I got thrown off a little bit. Rebellion Harvest Sunflower Seeds, as always. Shout out to the Atlanta-based Sunflower Seed Company, as always. And last but not least, Minority Prospects. Shout them out. They've got their big underclassmen All-American game this month in Atlanta. You can register for that right now as well. So shout out to all of our partners. I want to circle back before we get into our leadoff topic of the day. I want to circle back because Malik, you brought it up. I'm getting the feeling and the sense as well. Houston Astros. I'm getting the Miami Heat LeBron James version. I'm wearing the black mask. I'm getting the we are going to play the villain role, embrace the villains. And I saw it over the weekend in New York City where there was a lot of talk. There was some, I think it was Cody Bellinger came out and was saying that Altuve took an MVP away from Judge and they took a World Series away from all of this talk. And to answer that talk, all Altuve and Carrera did were hit bombs and beat the Yankees 2 out of 3. Am I getting the right read here? Are the Astros starting to become something more of villains, if you will, Malik?
I think so. And I think that ever since some of our core players have left over the past few years to go into free agency, the Astros have lost a little of their luster. I think teams were not as afraid of them. The Mariners are certainly not afraid of the Astros, as we've seen, as they are, keeping pace with the team. And I think that there was just a spell of very fortunate events that happened in Minnesota that allowed Carlos Correa to land in Houston's lap very easily. So I think that just with all the events going on, it's created a situation where a lot of Houston fans feel that pride that we felt in 2017. And I would say a little bit on beyond that. I think after the World Series, in those following years where the ALCS appearances, a lot of Astros fans are really proud of that. And so I think that having Correa back is really bringing that pride back to the city because Altuve wasn't getting any younger. He's almost 35 years old. And the fact that he's still hitting home runs in New York is actually still amazing. And to see them do it back to back like that, it's just bringing back memories.
April, let me ask you, because I got the sense when Dusty won that title, right? This is the sense I got. That was the closing of the book. We've officially turned the page. This is a new Astros team. We're not talking about 2017 anymore because we won it with only one player from 2017. But as soon as Carrera touched down in Houston, Altuve and Carrera both, I feel like they're trying to defend 2017, put 2017 on their back. At the very least, they're trying to make sure no one forgets 2017.
I will say that 2022 was a validation of we are a team that can win regardless of what other people think and feel. I guess for me, individually, when you look at the players who were on 2017, it's kind of like y'all really were like that. But I guess the whole Correa Altuve thing, why would y'all need to validate 2017? Like you are the champions. I mean, I don't forgive them, but
you have an answer for that?
Well, my question is mostly like what exactly are you trying to get from it? Like, if you're a villain, embrace being the villain. But why do you need to reflect back to that moment to feel validated? Yeah, help me.
Because they clearly did it. Carlos, you saw it. Carlos Carrera clearly was like, the home run celebration was, don't rip my jersey, and we're not banging on trash cans. And again, they really, Altuve felt a little bit more fortified too. Now he hit a bunch of home runs over the weekend, but they were putting it out there with their chest. The two of them, Cam Smith and those guys, they're not doing anything, but the two of them made it clear that they were the leaders of this club right now, and they were doing it. It was something bigger, I think,
and rightfully so. And rightfully so. And I'll be honest with you, man. I was watching the game in 17. Everyone told me that they were cheaters. The Astros were banging on trash cans. Major League Baseball, to its credit or discredit, did not strip them of a championship. They had it. And so from 18 on, imagine if you're Altuve, especially Altuve, you're getting booed in every stadium for years. You lucky he didn't crash out and jump in the stands. So yes, be that guy all you want. And you go into the Bronx with the short porch. Yes, do that, because frankly, people are not going to forget. They're going to drag you down with it anyway. You might as well run with it, man. Like, I'm with it.
Well, my take. If you're going to be a villain, then be a villain with it. I mean, we all know exactly.
They're not the villains, though.
Huh?
They're not villains, though. They paid their penance. They got booed for 8 years. They turn on the fans, man. They paid their penance. We all should move on. We're not moving on, so why not? They're not villains at all. I'm cheering them.
I feel very much like Altuve kind of felt like he just had to take it. When he's the only one left, he's the only one on the team, championship or not, after they move on, he's kind of the last man standing here, and he just has to take it. Every time they go on the road, he's taking signs, he's taking jeers, he's taking this, and he never really had any back because the other guys on the team, no disrespect to them, they didn't get it. They didn't win that championship, so they didn't understand it. Now he's got his dog back. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that's been through it, somebody that I'm sure when he was in Minnesota was getting booed on the road and saw signs about trash cans and championships.
Springer was too.
So he's like, all right. Like, and the fact of the matter is Altuve is a Hall of Famer. Like, he's a Hall of Famer.
Hall of Fame.
Carrera is a really good player. He's been good for a while. And again, probably like we were talking about last podcast.
Still don't think they're villains, though. I think they're good guys. I think
you think they're good guys?
I say, look, man, if it happened in 18, sure. But for years, they got booed, man. Booed nation, booed more than A-Rod. You get booed more than A-Rod, bro. That's not even possible.
Yeah, but it's weird. When you see Altuve at the plate, he doesn't, like, it's just like he's cleaning his eye out or something, or he's just kind of like not listening, and he just like hits a home run casually. So I think that they're heroes in a sense, but I think people really hate them still. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think people, and let me speak on that part from the fan perspective who like actually existed. People like me.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
I hate.
Actually existed.
I dislike them because there was not an apology that followed. It was like, yeah, I did it, and what? So when you make the comment that Correa is booed on the road, he was literally the one with his full chest, going out there saying what he wanted to say. Altuve was a bit more, quiet and docile about it, but no, that's not something for me as a fan who stayed up late, watched those games, and look forward to it. And not only that, it impacted certain players on the team.
But April, what I'm saying is,
I resent the fact that you don't think we watch those games.
Yeah, exactly.
I was a fan of baseball. I watched them.
I meant like a fan of the Dodgers. I'm sorry, I meant as a fan of the Dodgers.
I sat there in 2022 and watched Musgrove with his olive oil on his ears lace that ball against the Mets, and he told me to get over it. And I'm telling you, it's 8 years, man. The Padres suck, sure, but I'm over it. I won't boo Musgrove. Moving on.
Look. Last question about this. We'll move on. We've got a whole show to get into. This was not a part of our leadoff hour.
Leave Correa alone.
Do you enjoy this version, this reunion? Like, I knew it was going to be a good fit because Correa plays third, Pena comes back, Altuve is going to be Altuve. But I did not think that this was going to be as fun as it's been. Yeah. Maybe it's just the three. Look, hey, Flebo, maybe I'm giving the Yankees too much credit again. Because the Marlins fans are still on my neck. But maybe it was just because I watched all 3 games of the Astros in New York. I was like, this is fun. This is a fun team to watch. Even though they're 5-5 over the last 10 games, the Mariners are now 9-1. And look, you want to talk about a fun team to watch on the West Coast. We'll get into that later. But they're on the Astros' neck. But the Astros this weekend, the Astros versus the Yankees, and now the Astros versus the Red Sox, this is fun.
Yeah. Remember last week I told y'all that was my thing. That was my pick last week, Correa returning to the Astros. And I remember saying that a lot of people loved Correa. Before you saw the Altuve jerseys go crazy, like my uncle, people who are legit Astros fans, they loved Correa. So his return, it does give them a little spice added to it. And I will say, as a fan of the sport, I do enjoy it because I want to see the added edge to the Astros as they continue to compete for the AL West.
Yeah, and how often do we get to see guys finish their career out in the same jersey with their boys, right? So, like, just to see like the team that won together on multiple occasions, like stick it out. Like Correa's contract, it looks like it's going to end at age 37. He has like 3.5 more years with the Astros. I think that's if the options go out and he like gets those signed, which I think he would if he's able to keep this production up at least to a degree. And so I think that it's really cool to see, and you rarely get to see, players be on the same team for more than 5 years now. Ask the Rays.
Well, Malik, let me tell you, if you think it's fun now, wait till next year when Kyle Tucker comes back to Houston.
I think that's really going to happen?
I think that Kyle Tucker is going to sign with the Rays, but he's going to get like ownership stake or something.
Wait till Kyle Tucker sees all the fun that Altuve and Correa are having, and he can realize that he can come. Here's the thing about Kyle Tucker, and April knows this because I talk about it often. My surprise at how beloved Kyle Tucker is in Houston. He's popular in Chicago, and he's not playing bad. It's not the same. It's not the same. So, I mean, if he has the opportunity to get the band back together, I think Kyle Tucker should get the band back together is what I'm thinking.
He needs
because them ticket prices going to be real crazy if he comes back.
Already crazy.
Yeah, $500 million.
It's already insane. Hey, let's lead off this show, guys. We're going to lead it off with a bit of history. We've been seeing it all over the weekend. Jen Powell, congratulations to her. Clap it up for Jen Powell.
Yes.
Jen Powell becomes the first woman to umpire a Major League Baseball game that was she worked the bases in Atlanta as Atlanta Marlins series, her first game of that historic run. The second game she actually called balls and strikes behind the plate as
Okay.
well. So fantastic story. I pointed it out on Finish Your Breakfast the other day that Major League Baseball is still behind the NBA. They're behind the NFL. They're behind global FIFA soccer. They're behind the MLS in regards to having women officiate games. This was, from what I understand and reading some of the history, this is something where Jen Powell looked like, or even a woman umpire looked like they were on a positive trajectory a while ago. And then it just stalled. The whole thing just kind of stalled. But now, another notch, whether you like them or not, another notch that will be in the commissioner. Give me the name.
Roger. I'm about to say Roger.
Robert
Yeah.
Manfred.
Rob
Manfred.
Manfred.
Rob
Rob
Manfred.
Manfred. Excuse me. I got it. I just had
Not bad,
I'm with you, April. I had Goodell in my mind for a second. But in the Rob Manfred camp of accomplishments, there's a lot of things again that are going to fall into this camp of accomplishments that will also fall with things that commissioners have to deal with as well. But now Manfred gets to say he's the commissioner that made this bit of history. When you look back over the weekend, you look back on the significance, you look back at the climate that we're in 2025, where let's just face it, civil rights is not or advancement, human rights, civil rights, women's
Anything
rights.
but civil. Yeah, I got you.
These are all
civil
things that are not on the forefront, if anything, of what we're dealing with in society. If anything, and especially in America, we might be moving backwards. Flobo, I will ask you, as I always ask on this show, big deal, little deal, no deal at all. Jen, I know where we're going to go with this, but Jen Powell, tell me why.
So it's a big deal, but for a lot of different reasons at once. So with the exception of the National Hockey League, this is really the last major American sport to allow or to have women officiating at the top level. So kind of a dubious distinction, and truthfully, about 50 years too late, if I'm being honest with you. But
50?
that said, yeah, I say so. Yeah, if you think,
I would agree with you, but let's look really quick. I will agree with you, but the first woman referee in the NBA was 1997.
Okay.
NFL 2013. First woman to be a regular on-field official 2015. 2022 and 2023 when we're talking about soccer. So I get it. 50s.
Well, in my defense, let me say that
Yeah.
as old as Major League Baseball is, and the fact that you did have women's circuits going in the mid-century, I believe it should have been this. But that said, but you're right. It is kind of a new thing, which is kind of what I'm saying, really, really dubious. And so I have to give it to Jen Powell because she's going to take a lot of the comments, positive and negative, for some reason on the shoulder. Like, for example, it's not her fault, but her first pitch was a called strike when it wasn't, and that was a clip that got circulated. Not the fact that she came in at league averages according to scorecards at 93% accuracy. It was, the first pitch is wrong. What are we doing? And that to me is just totally tell how uncivil civil rights are across the board. But that said, witnessing history in baseball, to your credit, to your point about Manfred, this can only help his tenure. No one's going to like a commissioner in major sports. I can't think of any commissioner we like. Even Engelbert's getting it in the W. But right now, you can't deny that under Manfred's tenure, things are changing, I would think, in a positive direction.
Yes.
Malik, big deal, little deal, no deal at all, and tell me why.
Big deal. It's a huge deal. And I think it's and like we were saying earlier, like this being one of the last sports to allow or really like advance or promote women in the officiating position. And like just to comment on just like the comments and all the things that you probably might see on social media that are harmful, it just shows that we have a lot of educating to do. Seems like sometimes algorithms sometimes push those things to kind of have more attention than what they really need. There's a lot of people that I believe are in favor of having more women included, not only in the officiating side of baseball, but even more like on the managerial side, to have that type of awareness that, a lot of male coaches don't have. I think that we just need more women in the game in general. I was really a big fan when Kim Ng was, the GM of the Marlins, and I feel like she actually put them in the right position. So just with this being one of the big steps in our game, we just have to kind of continue to cross more boxes out and continue to, push more diversity in these positions of leadership.
No, I agree with you, and I'm going to say I don't necessarily know if it's the algorithm that pushes it 100%. It is in a way, but it's because people on social media, on social tend to skew to the negative. They're going to skew to the gotcha moment. There's no real, I mean, we all make some level of content here, and I'm just going to be honest with you. There's not a lot of traction and positivity, right? There's not a lot of, I joke around because people tell me all the time, the reason why politicians run negative ads is because they work. Nobody really cares about the positive ad that says, my local official is so great, right? But I just think that we're in a time, and again, there's a lot of factors that help booster this. I think the climate has gotten worse, obviously, in 2025 for obvious reasons, but everyone feeds to the negativity. So, like Flobo was mentioning, balls and strikes, how many absolutely atrocious balls and strike calls we've seen this year, which is going to lead them to go more automated and AI faster than we thought it would ever happen because it is so bad. And people are going to look at, they're looking for these eras just to push them in the algorithm. So she just fits into kind of what is happening. April, I'm going to give you the second to last word on this. Big deal, little deal, no deal at all. History was made in Atlanta over the weekend.
Yeah, I thought that it was a big deal, especially for a woman who loves baseball, softball, etc. And with more women enjoying publicly the sport, I think it's a great sign that we actually have a representative, not just sitting right here on a podcast, but also out there on the field, being able to call balls and strikes. So looking at the scorecard and how it went, I was very proud. But I will say as an educator too, it makes me proud because it allows our kids to be able to see that they are not limited to the possibilities that exist out there. You can like softball and baseball, and you can also participate in it in ways that you may not have figured in the past. You can be an umpire. You can still be around the sport, even if you don't fully play in it. And those are the things that make me proud because I'm here speaking on this particular podcast. Jen is out there calling balls and strikes, and then we had the all woman broadcast for the Red Sox game as well. So there are a lot of positives that we see happening within Major League Baseball, and it's just a great sign that we are moving in the right direction and ignoring those kinds of people, because I have to remember too, sometimes that's the only attention people get on social media. So they want the attention from it, but I love the fact that there are people in comments, especially men, who will be like, you looking at that first call, but she called all these other great calls. So it's great to see people take a step forward and defend what's out there.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything that said. I tend to agree with Flobo as well. Even though I wanted to read that timeline about when the NBA did it, when the NFL did it in particular. But yeah, I think it's overdue. And I will forever, the older I get, be shocked with these types of first, right? Because you're looking at 2025 and you're like, man, that's the first time, really? And because we always think when we talk about like historic, monumental, glass breaking things, we think about them in terms of just like yesteryear, right? Like, oh, that was the first time, a woman did this or somebody did this. And it's like, there's so much more ground we could cover. And there's so many more people, I think now today more than ever, that is so brazen saying that we've basically done it all. Like we've done enough and things like this is like, we should be more about this kind of level playing field, even though in the history of Major League Baseball, how old as it is, this is the first woman to ever do this.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
I think it's actually a bigger deal. It's an absolutely huge deal. Congratulations to her. And I was obviously impressed about kind of the comments that she gave. And there's one particular press conference, I believe it was after the first game, where they showed her colleagues, her fellow umpires,
Yes.
talking about how excited they were to be a part of the game. One of the umpires said, outside of like the birth of their own child and their debut, this was like the biggest thing. And I think we need more of that, because what I don't want to happen, and we've seen it a little bit, Malik mentioned it in coaching, we've seen people get these opportunities and then they kind of wash their hands with it and say, we've done it, we're done.
Right.
And they don't really care about the wave of young women that are coming up trying to follow in these footsteps of a Jen Powell or a Kim Yang or somebody of that nature. So I was really appreciative of the way she spoke about the historic nature of it, the way her colleagues spoke about the historic nature of it, the way that Major League Baseball seemed to recognize the historic nature of it. But this is just the beginning. And I think that that's usually what falls short when it comes to these types of things in sports is, are we going to get the next one? And are we going to get the next one? And are we going to get the next one? And I can't remember the number now, but I think it's below 10 of African-American umpires in Major League Baseball. I think it might be 6.
It's small.
Yeah.
One went to my college, by the way.
My principal, one of his line brothers is an umpire, and he's collegiate, like Division I collegiate. And I know he's going to be moving up to pro eventually. But yes, they don't really.
I think the club now might be 6 or 8 or something like that. I have to look it up. But that's the thing. Like you get these landmarks, and I do think it's, like I said, I think it's a huge deal. And I think it was the Adam Wainwright story. It was brought up quite a bit publicly, where Wainwright told Jen Powell, it's like, hey, I've got daughters, and all of my daughters are really excited about this and you and what you're doing. And so I think it's a big deal. I think the challenge is always what the challenge is how does she excel and do the best she can? But in many ways, she's the pioneer now, right? She's not only a person that has to do her job well, but she has to be the test citizen. And obviously you and all of us on this podcast have done a lot of understanding of the challenges that Jackie Robinson faced. I'm not saying it's apples to apples. It's a different climate in many ways, but in many ways there is a pushback on progress that says, now the one thing I did not hear, and I will laugh about this, but the one thing I did not hear was the term DEI and DEI hire when it came DEI promotion when it came to this. And I was thankful for that, because obviously Jen has a career that has merited her to get this position a long time ago. But there are people in this world that says that the only reason she's there is because it's a she and they want to make this level of history and blah yada 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 blah blah blah. So I am so far pleasantly pleased with the dialogue around it. And I hope that there are many more to come in the future. Flobo, looks like
you have this. Well, I feel like when someone does not excel, they say DEI hire, and then when someone does excel, you get the opposite. Hey, why even mention the fact she's a woman? She's a good umpire, and I'm telling you right now, you say it with your chest. Woman, if she's a woman. Black, if she's black. Tell people these stories, because representation isn't just sight. You got to tell these stories for people in the next generation to make them care.
I was actually just having a conversation with someone about how important it is for, especially like us in the space, because I'm not gonna lie, sometimes it can be a little daunting when you're the only woman in a space and you're speaking out, and there are some people who don't. But I will say there is way more support out there than you probably would realize, and that is a drive that is going to allow these moments to be able to continue. So I hope that people know that there are a lot of men who support this progress, whether they see it or not, and that is the part that really is going to continue to keep this movement going.
Yeah, I mean, I think yes, I think that obviously people And I think people have been and will continue to be
Mhm.
supportive of the progress that are made. Obviously, Larry Doby is not as nearly as recognized as Jackie Robinson. And so I think it'll be harder for the second woman and the third woman and so forth to kind of get through. But I think there has to be concentrated effort to do so. And I think that's where the rubber meets the road, right? It's like we can't just be satisfied with one.
Right.
We've got to figure out how to really open the pipeline, which is tough. There's only so many positions, Major League umpire. We just talked about. There are people that work their whole lives and never get the call to Major League umpire. They might be a Division I umpire. They may be, there may be different levels of success there. So we shall see. But huge deal. Congratulations to Jen Powell. It's she's by far the most popular. I don't know any outside of like Angel Hernandez. I don't know any umpires' names.
I know James Jean because he went to my college.
Right.
That's about it.
But I know my 2-year-old son knows 2 umpires, Angel Hernandez and Jim Powell. So
we all know
C.B.
Buckner.
Buckner
is popular.
He's not popular though.
Right. Well, Angel Hernandez is popular
On Twitter.
Hey, let's go to our second. That was the leadoff. Let's go to second base, and we are gonna bring it to All About April, who's got some NL Central talk.
Okay, so at the beginning of the season, I definitely had wiped my hands clean of this particular team. However, the Brewers are brewing right now and are definitely one of Major League Baseball's best teams. They're exciting to watch. They're beating everybody.
Yes.
They beating up on my Dodgers where I was like hiding. And I guess my question for y'all is, do you think that they can maintain this momentum?
Yes.
The Brewers are 73-44. They are, I believe, the best team in baseball as currently constructed record-wise. They get the job done. Malik, you tell me again, I am on record saying I don't watch the NL Central pretty much at all.
And here's what I have to say. Just because you're not paying attention doesn't mean they're not doing well. And here's the thing. The Brewers, this is the first time they've really gotten hot like this. The entire season, they've been steady, playing fundamental baseball, picking the ball up. Pat Murphy don't play that drop the ball around stuff in Milwaukee. He's very strict. He will put Blake Perkins out there because he's catching the ball very well. So he saw how he played Joey Ortiz most of the season because he knows how to pick up the ball very well. Isaac Collins, nobody knows about him. He's hitting the ball very well. Andrew Vaughn, the pickup that they just had from the White Sox, he's actually showing why he's a first-round pick. I think that the Brewers are just playing the game of baseball well. They've been doing it for the past several seasons. I know at the beginning of the season, I think you gave them their props, Cheats. You were saying like, hey, I can't count them out because they haven't shown us anything else. And so I think it's they're sustainable. Their model has been pitching this year, and that's why I say they're going to sustain because they have so much good, pitching depth that they're dropping guys to the minor leagues with 1 ERAs. When Logan Henderson had a 1.7 ERA, was dropped to the minor leagues to make room for Brandon Woodruff, who's dealing. So if you have arms in the minor leagues that can deal, who can pitch the fifth day, and you're not scrambling for arms, I think you're built for success, and especially if the team's not striking out like they are.
Flobo, I see you smirking over there. I will say this. I will say this. The Brewers, to me, I watched more Brewers games. 2 reasons. One, they played the Orioles earlier, so I saw them play the Orioles a lot more. And then Jacob Mizorowski, I went out of my way to see a couple of Mizorowski games. Recently, I've watched a lot of Blake Perkins as well. So I will say more entertaining than some of the teams in the NL East. But I'm not on the NL East. I mean, the NL Central. Excuse me, NL Central. Are you watching the Brewers? What are you picking up from the Brewers? Shout out to my dog Ricky Weeks, by the way.
I mean, the Brewers are a solid team. I would say overall, I've watched
solid. There's 73 wins.
Okay, because everyone on that team has like a 730 OPS. Man, investigate that squad. Raises some flags, y'all. No, I do think I watched more games last year for this one, but the Brewers, even though one of my other bold predictions besides the Angels was them not making the playoffs, I'm going 0-2 currently. They do find ways to win. The Mets aren't good right now, but Sunday's game was really a testament because the Mets scored in like consistent innings. That kind of beats down more than one team is when you can see over and over again. And not only did they find a way to get back, they walked it off in the ninth. And that only comes, those kind of games only work in your favor when you have something beyond the actual tools at your disposal. So right now they're hot. It looks like the match can go for a long time. But I'm looking at OPS numbers, Malik. I'm saying, see if there's any trash cans in Milwaukee right now.
Yeah. When we look at the Yankees OPS numbers, right? And we have a lot of teams that are hitting the ball so well. A lot of teams that are focusing on drive line, and that's cool. You got to make sure that you can hit. That's how you win games. But it's seeming like they're playing another game of baseball, and that other brand is coming back this year. A little bit more small ball, a little bit more defense, base running, smart base running plays. Who would have thought smart base running plays can determine a game's trajectory? And we're seeing it with the Brewers.
Tell that to the Yankees. But Steve, I was going to say for you, would you be more inclined to watch the Cubs or the Brewers?
Brewers.
He hates the Cubs.
We were going to get to this, but we'll circle back. I even tried again to watch the Cubs. I tried.
Hold on, though. Is it
How
just this year or in
watch
general?
The Cubs game?
No. It's this year. It's this year. Like I used to watch the Cubs a lot more.
He's like, I'm gonna put a timer on.
A lot more. But I tried the other day. They were Sunday Night Baseball, Cubs Cardinals, rain delay. Tried to watch.
Tried
to watch the Cubs. Who were they playing?
Oh, this weekend
prior to the Cardinals series. I can't remember right off the top of my head, but I tried to watch one of those games as well, and it was a horrible game. And somebody told me in the comments because we were talking about this, and they were like, hey man, the Cubs are exciting, but if you catch them on an off night, it's really tough to watch.
Yeah,
and it's like clockwork. Every night I'm like, oh, Cub game's on. I'm gonna watch it. Brutal. It's just a brutal watch. Damn. I would still argue that the most entertaining Cubs games I watched were in Tokyo this season.
That's like 6 months
ago. That's like 5 months ago. And I like
that was even the real season.
I like PCA. I do. I'm starting to try to understand Cal Tucker in that sense, but it is a tough watch. Let me go back to the Brewers though, because Malik, I want you to tell me about two players that one is young, one is older, and what are they doing that makes this team click? And I'm talking about Jackson Chourio, who is like, if there is a phenom on the team, it's Jackson Chourio. And if it's somebody that like people are going to invest long-term in the future, it's Jackson Chourio. But also the old man of this group has to be Christian Yelich, right? And both of them seem to be really, really doing a good job for the Brewers lineup. What is it about those two guys that work so well?
I think it's really their abilities actually are very different, I would say. I would call Jackson Chourio a very explosive player. He has these cold, streaky starts, but like once he gets hot for a long time. He kind of reminds me a little bit of a younger Acuna with a little bit more strikeout to his game. Whereas you have Yelich, he's always been this pure hitter. He's like a perfected version of what the Red Sox imagined Andrew Benintendi to be, right? So he's just like been hitting all his career. He's never been this guy who's wanted to be a slugger. He was a slugger for a little bit, and now he's found kind of this medium between like having to slug and get on base, and he's able to kind of maintain his health a little bit. They're gonna have to maintain some of his, playing time.
He doesn't play the field though, right?
Yeah, only part time because sometimes he has to just so the other guys can get the DH spot, but mostly DH. But I think what's happening with those two players, is that they are basically the backbone of that team's offense. Because like Flobo was saying, you got Bryce Terang out here, you got Joey Ortiz starting every day. They're not going to be hitting home runs every weekend. And so you have to have two stabilizers. And I think that their offensive profiles work very well with Chourio having so much speed, and then, Yelich getting on base at a consistent basis.
And I only know this from my card collector world, right? At one point, Sal Frelick was
Yes, South
one of
Philly is
those
good.
guys that
Yeah.
they really were looking into as like, oh, you want to invest in him as a sneaky good pick for a card collector. But he seems to be really performing on the field this year.
Well, yeah, he's actually a really good player. And you were actually trying to play him at third base at the beginning of this year because they were having a little bit of a hole at that position. So he's an athlete. He won a Gold Glove last year, next to another teammate that we talked about a little bit briefly in Blake Perkins, who I think is pretty much under the radar for the team. Pat Murphy loves him because he picks the ball up very well. He catches the ball, and he's been hitting. He's slugging close to 500 as well as a switch hitter, and that's not that's something that lineup really needed. Is some slug.
Let me ask you guys this as well, because I think you're exactly right, and then we'll move off the Brewers in a second. But I don't think Blake Perkins is underrated for this team. I think Blake Perkins is underrated for the entire league. And I don't fully know. I couldn't tell you. Last year, I think I started really tracking kind of the players on every team or black players on every team, and that's the first time I'd ever heard of Blake Perkins. Blake Perkins is 28 years old. He's a vet at this point.
Right.
How did Blake Perkins kind of sneak up? I think he snuck up on the entire league. Could be just me, because again, I don't watch the Brewers that much. But has Blake Perkins been like a key cog in the Brewers machine for years?
The Brewers are a franchise. Yeah, the Brewers are a franchise that kind of goes under the radar. Even though they're always in the conversation and always in the top of it, there are a market and an identity that kind of like puts his head down and gets to work. If Perkins was in, I don't want to say a team like New York, but if he was like in a squad like Miami, which is on the NL East side, and he had games against the Phillies and games against Atlanta, you would talk about him a lot more because he'd be featured a lot more. Just that the NL Central kind of goes under the radar, I think.
Yeah, he had about 10 outs above average, which would put him in the category of like the Denzel Clarks, the PCAs of the world as far as his defense last year. And like we were saying, Pat Murphy loves guys who can play defense. And his defense reminds me a lot of Lorenzo Cain a little bit, the way he moves around there. Maybe because he's another Brewer and that's a lazy comp. But he's just very easy in center field, more easy than Frelick and Garrett Mitchell. He's probably their best defensive outfielder on the team.
I mean, yeah, he's definitely an interesting story. Blake Perkins debuted in 2023 at the age of 26. He's only played for Milwaukee. He's gotten kind of 3 full seasons, I guess, under his belt. Well, this will be his third season, and most of this season. And one of the reasons I think he is underappreciated this season in particular is because he was injured for the first half of the season. So he's just come back and gave that lineup a giant jolt in there. So it was really, really exciting to see a guy like Blake Perkins play well on this team. See this team, like you said, has caught in fire of recently.
Yeah.
Last question I'll ask, and we'll move on, because I've already been on record saying I don't watch a lot of Brewers games. Do you guys watch Brewers games? I mean, is the Brewers, what if you were going to tell me, because I don't believe any of this. I think the Reds are the most watchable, friendly team in the Central.
That's
if you had a
bias.
choice, who would you watch? Would you watch the Brewers or the Cubs?
Cubs.
That's tough.
That is tough.
I'm not gonna lie, I do watch more Cubs games than
I think as a brand, the Cubs would be the answer. But again, the Brewers are kind of like how you would build a team if you're playing like a GM video game, because there aren't really flashy pieces or expensive pieces. It is overproduced year after year. So if you're like a stats nerd, if you're into like, I wonder how they would get out of this division, that's kind of fun. I would say the Brewers. But as far as like marquee matchup, Sunday night baseball, big lights, big city, definitely Chicago.
That's a good point. I think it is depending on the type of baseball you want to watch, because the Brewers definitely have a strong analytical focus. You're going to get guys in the bullpen at all throwing 100 miles an hour. So there's going to be some like low scoring games, whereas the Cubs, you might get like some big home runs. So I would say the Cubs, because for a watchable type of baseball, for just like any casual fan, I will watch a Cubs game.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think all of us are going to be watching Brewers games because they're going to be in the playoffs, and they're going to be in the playoffs, and hopefully Mizorowski will be back by the time they make the playoffs, because I think he will be, and
he should be.
That'll be a lot of fun. I mean, I think Milwaukee in the playoffs with that young rookie phenom type buzz to it, I think will be exciting. Looking at the NL Central, and I just realized this, these are my sensibilities and could be completely wrong. But I will say I've watched way more Reds. I watched a ton of Reds games this year.
I like watching the
Yeah.
Reds.
I love watching the Reds. I've watched a ton of Reds games, continue to do so. And then, believe it or not, the team I've watched the second most in the entire Central are the Pirates. And the Pirates are awful.
Mm-hmm. You're hilariously.
Why
awful.
is that then?
He
Why
likes
is it?
Midwest baseball. He likes.
I can't even tell.
At the time, I'm assuming it was the Key Bryant Hayes, Tommy Pham, O'Neill Cruz factor of it all.
Mhm.
And I'm watching the Reds be. Well, they have Key Bryant Hayes now, but Hunter Green takes the bump off of rehab. He's going to take his first start on Wednesday. Chase Burns is on that team. It's just Will Benson, our guys on that team in the Reds. It's just obviously Ellie De La Cruz. It's just a fun team. Fun teams to watch.
I think fun is subjective. But question for you though, as of right now, the Reds are 2 games out of the last wild card spot.
Yes.
Do you think they make the playoffs?
Yes.
Crazy.
Oh wow!
Crazy.
Who did they knock though?
I picked them before the season started.
Currently, it's the Cubs, Padres, and the Mets in the wild card hole. So they would have to. All right, now
and the Cubs. Let's just be clear: the Cubs are 14 and a half games up.
I'm just saying
the Cubs are going to the playoffs. The Padres, the Mets, and the Reds is where we're going to watch this thing. And Flobo, let me tell you.
Tell me.
Child.
On the verge of collapse right now. It's the Metropolitans.
Man, I would say this. We are watching the movie where the main character has grabbed the plane like steering wheel and has a chance, just one chance, just to pull up at the end. Lord of mercy. 07 or 08 were worse because we collapsed in September.
Right.
But if this goes down the way it's going down, I'm never going to hear the end of this. Yeah, my DMs all off season.
I mean, here's the thing. To me, the Central and the National League wild card, the National League wild card is going to depend on the health of Hunter Green and Chase Burns if he can get it together, and that Reds pitching.
Yeah.
If Hunter Green comes back and is the ace that he was in the first half of the season, everybody's in trouble because he's going to win a bunch of games if he's healthy. Burns looks like he looks the part. And he's super exciting to watch. He's the only pitcher in MLB history. And again, this is where stats get. We in 2025 we've gotten a little stat happy. We all know this, but the stat is the first pitcher in Major League Baseball to strike out 10 in the first 4 out of 8 starts. I don't know how you measure this stuff, but all he does is he strikes out 10 batters and goes 6 innings every time he pitches
with 2 pitches.
Not to mention Abbott and these other guys for the Reds. So it's like, I just think the Reds are coming on. And again, I don't know, man. It looks like the Mets are on paper. The Mets are so good. They just got to put it on the field, man.
Look, man, every sport guy in town is like, "Whoa, it's the pitching, man. You gotta get length of our starters." And I get all that. Like, you can't put everything on your bullpen. That's been the MO for the past 10 years. But I don't understand that even on paper, everything should be working and it's not. Like, I don't even know. I can't even what the Mets need is this. I don't know how to answer that. Huh?
You need a gimmick. Yeah,
I know when they brought the dude
a spark.
When they brought back the dude from Backyard Baseball, we won 7 in a row, and that was the last time we had a winning streak. Pablo Sanchez.
All right, so before we move on, I'll ask you guys the way that you asked me. Do the Reds make the playoffs? Flobo, yes or no?
No.
Malik, yes or no? Reds.
They're not going to make the playoffs.
April, Reds.
Yes, because I picked them to go before the season started, and I'm not going away from that.
All right. Well, there we have it. We'll have to wait and see on this. All right. We have gotten to first base. We've gotten to second base. April. You did the crew on second. Malik, you are up. Let's go third base. What do you got for us?
So we were just talking about some Midwest baseball. We're going to stay with the Central. We're staying in the Central. We got some black players that have been performing so well in baseball. But first off, just want to say shout out to Michael Harris. Michael Harris recently changed his batting stance, and it's been doing wonders at the plate. He's hitting over 300. I think in the last game since like July 1st, he's hitting 308. So shout out to him. But if we're going to move back to the Central, we got 3 black players that have been killing it. Jordan Walker hitting 300 since July 1st. Tommy Pham hitting 330 since July 1st. I think he's going to get another MLB contract, hopefully. Hopefully he gets one and not a minor league contract.
A new team, too. Why not?
And just to shout back out to Blake Perkins, even though he's also like really much known for his defense, he's been hitting around 262, but slugging at 500 this month. And so since like July 1st. And so these guys have been performing at the plate. Particularly Jordan Walker had it really rough this year, had some injury issues. And he's actually been having a lot of good success at the plate as of late, still striking out a little bit, but he's actually putting it all together in right field and also defending a little bit better as well. I think he's getting a lot more comfortable as the team has given him, runway. And I think Michael Harris, just him having that contract, people put a lot of pressure on him. It was like, oh, he may have gotten too complacent. Oh, maybe he's doing too much. Maybe this and that. But he's a young player. All these guys are young players. Even I would say Perkins. So I think we just need to give these guys some runway. And that's usually just the case with a lot of black talent in baseball. Just give us some time, and we're going to show y'all that we're, the best in the game. So just shout out to those players.
So let's talk about it a little bit. Michael Harris is 24 years old. Got married over the offseason, right?
Shout out to him.
Got the contract extension after his Rookie of the Year season. But I distinctly remember at some point in the first half of this season, Coach Marvin Freeman, shout out to Marvin Freeman, was like, I think he was on Instagram, and he was like, fans of Atlanta, let's give Michael Harris a standing ovation. He was playing so poorly that is hitting so poorly in particular. His defense has always been pretty good, but it was let's support Michael Harris and give him a standing ovation to kind of kickstart him and rally him. And I remember thinking to myself, I was like, man, are we at that point with Harris? Is it that bad off where we need like standing ovations, Trey Turner style, before like he gets up at bat to show him that we care about him? And Coach Freeman was like, yeah, it's probably that bad. So let's take a quick look at the first half of the season. Michael Harris's slash line was 210. His batting average is 210, 229, 317 slugging. The second half of this season, since the All-Star break, 359, 379 on base, 658 slugging. He has been absolutely phenomenal. In his last 19 games, he's hit 5 home runs as well. He's gotten the power back. He did change his swing. He kind of went back to a swing that he had more through his kind of Rookie of the Year campaign, if you look at him side by side. But it's a phenomenal turnaround. And I don't think, like you're saying, I don't think it was effort. I don't think it's, he's more locked in. I think you change some sight lines, you change some things, you work on some fundamentals. And also sometimes, like, when you're slumping in baseball is the only sport when you're slumping, you can do everything right. You can work the count in your favor. You can hit it on the barrel. You can do everything right, and you hit a line drive to the second baseman, and he catches it, like a rocket.
Yep.
I feel like some of the baseball gods, if you will, are starting to correct themselves a little bit in the Harris case. He's probably not as good as he's been recently, but he's definitely not as bad as he was in the first half of the season. And somehow for Harris, this kind of works out. But as you said, Malik, and I really take this to heart, we don't have the luxury as black baseball players.
Right.
I use we loosely. Black baseball players don't have the luxury of slumping very long and very bad and having folks ride with them. We're seeing something, I think, extraordinary in LA with Mookie right now, and Mookie deserves it. But what we saw with the Braves fans, kind of sticking with Michael Harris and having the management stick with him in the lineup, it's paying off dividends now. But hey, look, we just don't get that often. So I do think it's rare.
Yeah, like making adjustments in the middle of the season is so risky for players. Go ahead, Flobo. I didn't want to interrupt, but I was just saying, making those adjustments for a player that's not on a contract, like, for example, one of our favorites, Will Benson, let's say he wanted to make a change in the season that would help his loft in his swing or whatever, that's risky for a lot of black players to do that. That can get you sent back to AAA. And you're like, oh, he's hitting 900 in AAA, but we're still going to hold him down there.
You mentioned Jordan Walker.
Yeah, Jordan Walker. Any kind of changes you make at the plate can, not show the results, but it could have a great process.
You're good. You're good. Jumping in there.
No, I'm with it. I feel like to your point, yeah, we don't get the same kind of leeway, and it's Atlanta too. Like it's a team with stars, right? It's a team where Michael Harris was kind of like a young gun. They got a good team friendly deal. Like everyone knows Harris from his team friendly deal, but maybe there was some pressure from the breakout. They put it on himself, but having that team, that city go behind them, it's pretty dope. And that's something you don't see all too often. And if that was me in that position, I'll probably be like, oh man, don't cheer me. Don't give me a pity cheer. But at the same time, it is beautiful because some cities wouldn't even do that. So I give props to him for making that.
I do struggle with the pity cheer. I struggle with it. Because again, like when I heard about it, I was like, man, is it gotten that bad? Like, are we hitting rock bottom here?
It was bad. It was bad, Chief.
But
he doesn't walk either. He never walks.
I wonder how the player feels when that like the first time I really kind of followed it and heard about it was in Philly with Trey Turner, and I know because it was like not necessarily like it was a little bit more organic. I guess it was coordinated by the fans, but it felt a little bit more organic. I think Trey Turner's like, man, this is really nice, and I felt like every other time it happens after that, it's like, oh, is it that bad off? Like, am I at depression level? Like when they did it for Mookie Betts they did it for Mookie Betts the other day, like last week or 2 weeks ago in LA. They went 0-4 in the game. I was like, geez, does it make it worse? How does this happen? But I just don't know how I feel about the hey, let's get the organized pity cheer going because you're sucking right now.
I'm with 100%, man. But at the same time, it's like there was a time where we never got that at all. It was like, get this bum out of here. And that was a wrap. Here comes the hook. You know what I mean?
I like it because we've also seen players where they talked about how they're walking down the street and fans are literally booing them while they are trying to live everyday normal lives. I find it inspiring to know that you are having a low moment and the fans still believe that you are the player that they know that you are. So
yeah, I'm with it too. I think just with the current state of I think social media has a big impact on players more than we think. I think that the players that we talked about last week that didn't have that kind of aspect, of course they were tough, but this environment that a lot of these players are born in is not very conducive to mental health. And so just for people to cheer you on in real life, as opposed to what they're doing to you online off the field, it's really nice for those certain moments. And for players that the team knows that they're going to stick with too. They know they're going to stick with Michael Harris. They know they're going to be with Trey Turner for a very long time. They're not moving that contract anytime soon. So might as well cheer them on. You got time.
Tommy Fan never got one of those.
Tommy
Fan never there.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point. I think there's it's like, I think the player matters as well. And it's just definitely a player that you're like, again, you're not going to sit down or you're going to kind of stick with him for a long time. I'm interested to think about Harris's first half if the Braves were good, right? If the Braves were contenders and contending, would that have put way more pressure on the organization to make a move with Harris somehow? But now that the Braves were out of it, the Braves had a historically bad start.
Right.
They're not going to come back. And so it's like you give this 24-year-old person that you believe a lot in an opportunity to work his way out of it. I don't think that's been the case, like you're saying, for some of the other players, especially young players. Christian Campbell's back down. Jordan Walker was down and up. Will Benson was actually down and up. So it's like, it's interesting to see how that works out.
I've also wondered with Michael Harris if it was a collective team thing that affected his play, because the Atlanta Braves as a team just looked really, really bad. And we've seen somewhat of a turnaround with the return of Ronald Acuna Jr. as well. So does that have some level of inspiration to his play where you have someone who is motivational behind the scenes affecting the play and kind of turning around a little bit of the consistent losses that they have. I don't know.
No, I
But-
mean, here's the thing. I think Acuna makes any lineup better. I mean, and I'm not even talking about mentally. I'm thinking you got to account for Ronald Acuna at the top of the lineup, and that makes it a lot easier if you're in the lineup. If Acuna's in the lineup, ask Juan Soto and Aaron Judge and all those guys. When you have guys that are hitting around you that are really talented, or even in the lineup that's really talented, it physically makes it easier. You're probably going to see more pitches. I think the interesting thing about the Braves in general, in particular with Harris coming back, I do think there's a little bit of mechanics. Obviously, you saw this. I mean, it's physical. You can they put the side by side on there now. He's changed a lot of the mechanics back to, I don't know if it was last year or maybe like a year before. And I often think about having conversations with guys that have played at that level. Lewis Brinson comes to mind, and Nico Goodrum comes to mind when we're talking about it. And they're like, man, sometimes you just have to do what you do well. And like you get all of these coaches, and these coaches you've got all the iPads and you've got all the videos, and they're all telling you different things, or they're telling you things about what you have to do, whether to get your swing in the right path or whatever. And all of this stuff is different than what you did to get to the point of you being rookie of the year and you being a person that gets a contract extension. So one of the things I'm wondering about, and it'll be interesting to hear, did Michael Harris just kind of resort back to what he's always done? Because that's what it looks like his swing has. It looks like it went back a couple of years, and that's the swing that got him to the major leagues. And it looks like that's the swing that is having him excel right now, as opposed to some of the changes he was trying to implement in the first half of the season.
Yeah, and I did say that he doesn't walk a lot. He's never really walked a lot in his career. I think right now it's like at 3%. But he does what works for him. He's kind of like a PCA in a way. He's going to swing at the pitches. He's aggressive at the plate, but he's also not striking out a ton right now. He's only striking out this month like since July 1st at like 16%, which is way below average, like of the, major league hitters today who are striking out at, astronomical rates, and this is going up. So shout out to Mike Harris for, just taking it and just like, making those adjustments and being the player that they needed him to be.
So of the players you mentioned, Tommy Pham, Jordan Walker, Mike Harris, Blake Perkins, the only one that has a outside chance of making the playoffs is Jordan Walker and the Cardinals. So Walker, Mason Wynn, who's been playing incredibly well. And I saw a stat the other day that I didn't even realize. Mason Wynn is like one of the best defensive shortstops in all the entire league.
He's like Simmons this year.
Yeah, but he's hitting really well. Victor Scott II's in that Cardinals lineup. Jordan Walker's in that Cardinals lineup. Are the Cardinals a team? Because again, they're in the NL Central, so I don't watch them. Are the Black Cards? I should be watching them.
The Black Cards
are the team that we should be watching for, an out of market experience. Does anybody watch the Cardinals?
I don't, as a Mets fan. I feel like I shouldn't. So I kind of go out and
Really?
I watch essential stuff, but I don't watch the Cardinals.
Where's my guy? We got a lot of Cardinals. We got a couple Cardinals fans in the Discord. Should we be watching the Cardinals?
I think we should be
watch the Cardinals.
Yeah,
I don't, because I kind of had written them off, but I also feel like they're not the Cardinals that I remember when the Cardinals like incited fear in people. So I mean, if there's nothing on TV, I'll turn the Cardinals on, but they're not someone that I'm like, oh my gosh, the Cardinals are playing, let me turn them on. No.
I will say this: it always looks like it's hot outside when they're playing. It's like it just makes me feel hot when I'm watching a Sunday game and the Cards are playing at home. And I feel like we do need to watch them when Tink Hintz comes up. We
got to do better, y'all.
We got
to do better. They got Jordan Walker. They got Jordan Walker, Mason Wynn, and Victor Scott in the starting lineup. There's not a lot of Major League Baseball teams that have 3 African Americans in the starting. We got to do better, y'all.
We gotta
If
do
we're the
better.
Bucks, this
But
will
and
be-
watching the Cubs.
We gotta
though.
watch the Cubs.
Because they don't have any.
Cubs,
Right.
the Cubs got none of them.
You can't be picking and choosing. Guys, watch the baseball. Not them,
Cubs
but them.
have
Not
zero
them.
African Americans on their team.
Well,
So,
Y'all
yeah,
telling me to watch the Cubs.
that to you?
Now I will say I was watching the Cards when they played the Dodgers, and then Mason Wynn hit a home run, and I had to turn it off because I got mad. But I had attempted.
I
You gotta
tried,
do
y'all.
better
He
for
said
this
try and counts.
We were trying to
Hey,
educate,
hey.
we were trying
Jordan
to
Walker's
educate
hitting, so
people
we'll watch. We'll watch.
on the game and how it merges with our culture. They got 3 in the starting lineup, and let me tell
I
you,
know, I
Victor
know.
Scott can go get it. Victor Scott can go get it. Mason Wynn's playing out of his mind, and
Yeah.
Jordan Walker can hit bombs. So we gotta do better.
You're
Yeah.
right, and I like Nolan Arenado too. So I do need to do a little. We need to do a little.
Yeah,
bit.
he's hurt right now, so
I know.
we're not watching.
Watching it all. All right. Last but not least, before we get out of here, I'm not gonna belabor the point here, but we do have to talk about the Yankees. The Yankees, as it stands right now, and if we're looking at the AL East, the Yankees 6 games back. They're 3-7 in their last 10 games. They are on an epic trajectory to miss the playoffs. If you're talking about the wild card situation, the Yankees are holding on by 1 game against the Cleveland Guardians. And all of this is being centered around Devin Williams. There's a lot of other things that they're talking about in Yankee land, but none of them as prominent as Devin Williams. Let's just face it. Let's call a spade a spade. Devin Williams will tell you himself he's got to pitch better. He's got to find it. It's not going well. I don't believe he's in a very good headspace as well. How could you be?
Man,
Bobo. Aaron Boone got ejected out of the game in the 5th inning. I want to say it was Sunday against the Astros.
It's a part-time job, that guy.
Here's the thing, though. For whatever reason, Aaron Boone keeps throwing Devin Williams in high leverage, high pressure situations. I believe the last 4 times he went out there, it was in the 8th inning or worse, and it was 2 blown saves and 2 losses.
Yeah.
Why does Aaron Boone keep putting Devin Williams in a position where all of New York City wants to just go after both of them?
Well, first things first about Aaron Boone, and I am not on the Boone bus. People are, but I think he's getting out managed by too many people in the league. Not saying he's a bad manager. I mean, he's pretty solid, but he's getting outclassed a lot. So I do think there's a bit of simplicity there when it comes to strategy. That said, there is a bit of old school pre-analytics mentality. Maybe you can talk to Louis about this on Thursday, where it's like, my man's down. I'm gonna keep putting him where he is, and hopefully gets his weight up, and he could be good. And it's just not working. So I'm not sure I can blame Boone 100% or Devin 100%, but it does feel like an old school methodology. It just keeps being repeated with the hopes that Devin steps out of it, and it doesn't. And it's not happening right now.
April, what are we doing? What do you do with Devin Williams right now?
On one hand, you're kind of like, I want people to believe in me the way Aaron Boone believes in.
The way you believe in Tim Anderson. Aaron Boone is April on TA.
Right. I'm still holding on.
TA7 for the chip.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I do wonder if this holding on is at the detriment of the player. Like, is this actually for his benefit mentally? Does it work better to have him as the setup guy versus having him this way? So I'm not too sure that this is the right move right now. And again, you can always move him back, but I mean, he's not the only one who is not playing their best. Unfortunately, that's the way the media is looking. They still not playing good defense. They still have other things going on.
I get it. There's a lot going on, but he has been, for Devin Williams standards, historically bad. So
He's
it's
been
like
blessing card bad. Yes.
this is again. Yes, there are other things happening with the Yankees as well in regards to them not winning games, but from Devin's standpoint, this is probably the worst Devin Williams has ever been.
I have a theory on this of why I think Boone made the right decision, y'all.
Go ahead. Tell me.
And there's the reason why. Which pitcher has the most strikeouts in the Yankees bullpen? Who has the highest strikeout rate and who has the most strikeouts?
Devin
Williams. Who had one? I think he had 2 home runs or 1 home run hit before those 4, collapses. He had less than like 3 home runs hit off of him before that collapse. I think Luke Weaver had 7.
Yes, he did.
Tim Hill. Every player in that bullpen has had more home runs hit off of them than Devin Williams. Guess what Devin Williams' ground ball rate is? It's 45%. It could be a little higher. It could be in the 50s like Fromber, but he's not Fromber right now. So I can see why you put a player like Devin Williams. He had the highest strikeout rate. That's when you want to get the strikeout, you get the strikeout pitcher. The ERA is not looking good, right? ERA plus not looking great, right? But everybody in that bullpen is obviously taxed. Everybody's taxed. And so you get your
Didn't they buy 8 pitches though? Didn't they buy 25 pitches?
They bought a whole new bullpen. So I mean it's Bednard, it's Duvall, who's the other guy. It looked bad.
They're still getting adjusted. It's hard to get adjusted to New York, and Devin is still been getting adjusted. But look at who they had available. Who else? Fernando Cruz, perhaps, but he's been pitching this year too. So you get the guy who's gonna strike the guy out, and honestly, he was probably the best choice at the time. He was warm, he was ready to go. Now the results didn't show, and Boone was trying to put him in that situation to continue to build up his confidence, and he just didn't lock it in. But the Yankees haven't locked it in, so I just don't believe in it all falling on Devin when in reality, if you got guys that you can't really trust to defend the ball behind you.
Well, I mean, to their credit, Volpe's catching hell as well.
Oh, but he's been hitting too.
So.
He's catching all, all
he's been catching all
Rightfully so.
And look, I think Devin Williams is a little bit of a victim of his past success. He's a victim of high expectations, and he's a victim of a really large contract, right? So,
true.
I think coming into New York, I was one of those guys. I was one of the first ones to be like, when they signed Devin Williams, it was going to make everyone like I thought he was going to be the next Rivera type player. Shout out to Mariano, who blew out his ACL in the Old Timers game.
Achilles,
surprised he was even allowed to play, but still. I just thought that this was the closer that they needed in the Bronx. And I thought his demeanor would do well. I thought it was because now, again, this is what happens when you don't have success in New York. You're hearing a whole new spin on the whole facial hair policy, right, Flobo? They're talking about, they changed the policy for this guy. This is what you're getting. I've seen signs that say bring Clay Holmes back, and you knew how that went last year. Right. It is brutal.
You had your chance.
It is brutal.
Nah.
And it's like I am actually so surprised that this has gone the way that it's gone, because I really thought this guy was and historically speaking, he should be a one-man, ninth inning save machine. And it just hasn't worked out that way. And hopefully this doesn't ruin whatever he does in the future. Because I've already got buddies that was saying, like, I guess, I don't know if he was looking for a big contract this offseason, but...
Oh, yeah, he will be. And I think he'll get it.
He's not going to get it now.
I think he'll get at least a good... he's going to get good money, like at least in the 30s, if not 40s. He's probably not get closer money because let's just face it, Devin Williams hasn't always been a closer. When he was with Josh Hader, he was right next to Josh Hader. Right. He was a setup guy. The pitches that Devin Williams has is that devastating, changeup in a pretty decent fastball and a decent cutter. I feel like closers are going to need a little bit more blow the doors off type pitches. Raisel Iglesias wasn't able to survive with the sinker ball. So I think he's going to get good reliever money. Relievers get paid. So you're going to look at those underlying metrics, and he's going to get probably not 95 mil, but maybe we're along like 50. 60.
Last question I'll ask you, like you guys ask us. As it currently stands right now, the Yankees are in that last spot for the playoffs. Guardians are 1 game back. Rangers are 3 games back. Royals are 4.5 games back. Let's go around the horn. Flobo, do the Yankees make the playoffs?
Yes.
It looks away.
Malik, do the Yankees make the playoffs?
They do. They will make the somehow.
April, do the Yankees make the playoffs?
Yes, they will. They're gonna get it together. They're gonna make
figure it out. Judge, he's still around.
So you're all on the Yankees.
I said it with my chest.
The Yankees making the playoffs.
I did not say it with my chest.
Yeah, he didn't.
guys, and lady, I'm gonna say absolutely not.
Whoa.
I love the take.
And this is why. I am not afraid of the Guardians. I am afraid of the Rangers.
They look good right now.
If I'm looking at that, they're playing horrible.
Good.
Okay.
They're 3-7 in their last 10.
Well,
they've lost 4 games in a row.
They inconsistent to me.
But this is where I'm going with this. The AL West. Astros make the playoffs. This is where I am with this.
Mm-hmm.
The Astros make the playoffs. The Mariners make the playoffs.
Okay.
And the Rangers, they have the ability to sneak in, especially if they're going to try to do whatever they can. They're falling behind the pace, right? They're 6.5 games out of the West. But if they start to make a push, they get their playoff chops up. At this point, even with Luis Hill coming back, I don't see this light switch in this Yankees team that has the ability just to flip it on and win a bunch of games in a row. And I'm thinking those Rangers, the Guardians are pesky. I think Guardians might be kicking themselves for selling. They sold at the deadline.
They wish they could have sold more, but Clase, had other plans.
Right. But I'm gonna jump out the window here and say that this second half collapse and the pressure that they're facing in the Bronx is a bit too much for the character of this team. And we shall see. But again, ask me in a week. We'll be here next Monday.
You don't believe in Giancarlo Stanton playing right field and getting this team back together? Like
I believe that when Judge does what I believe that the Yankees gonna be good. They're gonna be all right.
That's if Judge there's a world where Judge comes back for a little bit and then he realizes that arm might need a little extra help. So we'll see.
Is there a world where he can win the MVP and this team doesn't even sneak into the playoffs? Because he's still up there for MVP next to Cal, and I think he might beat Cal just with the stats.
Hey, look, I will tell you this:
Cal's
since the time he went on the IL,
Cal just did.
If you had asked me before Aaron Judge went on the IL, is there a world where he doesn't win the MVP? Even like me knowing that he's going on the IL for 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time, I would have said there's no world in which Aaron Judge doesn't win the AL MVP.
Me too.
Now that he's come back, like he was out to 10 games, he's come back. Kyle Raleigh has been phenomenal.
He's
doing a lot of last-minute homework right now. He's like, oh, he's back. Oh, shit.
there is a world now where I think Riley has the inside track for the MVP. And my thought is, here's the thing. Because in my mind, there's always going to be some level of fall off. Like, there's going to be some level of, like, Riley can't keep this up. And all he's done all year is keep it up.
Keep it up.
And their team is better. We talked about their lineup. Cal Riley's batting second in this Mariners lineup. That is amazing to watch. And we're going to get into that before we get out of here. How can you not, like, how can you bet against him not keeping it up? So if he keeps it up, and if Aaron is affected at all by this arm, I think there's a world where Raleigh has the inside track now for the MVP of the AL.
It's sad.
I think it's great. Hey, look, I think it's great that what Kyle Raleigh is bringing
Yeah,
Mhm.
don't get me wrong.
The
Yeah.
excitement of Seattle baseball. People haven't been this excited in Seattle since Ken Griffey Jr. and
Right.
Ichiro and those guys. And they've got a team where I think if more eyes are on them every day, and we can get into this now because we're going to switch gears before we get out of here, because I do want to go around. We've talked a lot about MLB extra innings, out of market watching. As we gauge right now, who do you think is the funnest team? Not your team. So, April, you can't pick the Dodgers. Flobo, you definitely can't pick the Mets.
That's not fun to watch the Mets
I'm
right
not
now.
gonna
I don't
pick
know.
but when we talk about this, I love this radar. Who is your right now MLB extra innings team to watch? Who's the most fun team that you would stop your day and watch play a baseball game?
Give me
Miami
a
baseball. Miami baseball.
I love it. That's a great
Miami.
answer.
Let's
The
go.
Marlins are fun to watch. Let's
Yeah.
take a
Right.
quick look. The Marlins are 57-61. They're 12 games out. They're not in a position really to make the wild card here, right? Hold on. Let me just make sure I'm right about this.
As of now.
There's 17. No, is that right? There's 17 games. Oh, no. That's wrong. Hold on. Let me just look at the wild card situation for the Marlins. They are 6 games out of the wild card. If there's any team that can get hot, the Marlins have gotten a couple of hot streaks this season.
Mhm.
But they're just fun to watch. Flobo, elaborate. Why are they fun to watch for you?
Well, historically, the Marlins have always been the cast-offs. Even though when they were good, they always dismantled the team, the harsh turnover in the front office. And then Kyle Stowers having a little bit of a chip on the shoulder, a little swag on his back. So you got an outspoken player. You got a team people don't really think about. Also a team that always plays spoilers. Found a way to sweep the Yankees and got so many people to come to their games that one weekend. Why not?
Record number of attendance.
And in fact, they still are trying the Caribbean thing.
Fair to
I'm in.
say, though, is it fair to say that Cal Stowers is a player with a chip on his shoulder? He's playing out of his mind.
Yes.
And he got the opportunity to play in the Orioles trade, which he was just in a crowded outfield room with the Orioles. This was a really good situation for him to move on. I don't think he has a chip on his shoulder.
I think Miami historically is a brand where you get like sent off to another realm. Now you talk to Lewis Brinson. He made the most of it when he was in Miami, but I bet that call was not good. When it was like, listen, we're gonna pack you up for Christian Yelich. You ready? Like, come on, man.
He didn't mention my guy Xavier Edwards, but Xavier Edwards is absolutely a hit machine.
Right.
I love watching that guy hit. He's fantastic. So Miami, good pick. Let's jump over to Malik. Malik, who is your must-watch, out of market, not your favorite team? Who's the funnest team to watch for you?
Do I have to pick another team?
You're going to pick the Marlins too?
I was. So I'm going to pivot to another team we just talked a little bit about, because this team is also kind of in a similar position as the Marlins. The Reds, I think, are a little bit underrated as a team. I don't know if you caught any of the games this weekend against the Pirates, but it was just a rocket show. Just home runs.
The Key Brian Hayes Invitational?
Yeah, seeing Key Brian Hayes get his props out there. I don't know. They're just so good at defending. They're good at playing the game. They in that ballpark is really small. It even looks small on TV when you're watching the games in American small park. And so I think that they're like a good number 2. But Flobo had to give those Marlins their props because they're just playing such an athletic game of baseball. It's not slow. It's not station to station. They're taking extra bases. They're doing everything well. So the Reds are going to be number 2 for me.
I do. I love watching the Reds. I watch a lot of the Reds. They're most games I watch in the Central, but I watch them and I'll watch them on Wednesday. Again, I'm looking forward to watching them on Wednesday with Hunter Green's return. I love watching good pitching as well, just exciting pitching. Green is exciting to watch. Chase Burns is exciting to watch. Obviously, Ellie De La Cruz is exciting to watch. Key Brian Hayes is playing some great defense as well. Will Benson's our guy. He's a good player to watch. When Reese Hines, he's been up and down, but he's also fun to watch there. And again, I enjoy with the Reds the product that the Reds put on the field. So that's a fun one. The Marlins are fun to watch. The Reds are fun to watch. April, who is your? Let's have some fun and watch some baseball.
Y'all don't judge me for saying this.
Oh, don't say it.
Say it.
I'm
Houston
prejudging.
Astros.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I thought you were gonna say the Padres, and I was like, dang.
No.
I thought she was in the Giants, but dang, really?
No.
No,
Go ahead,
the
Abel. Go off.
Worse.
Go off.
Listen, when Correa came, first off, watching Cam Smith, etc., Bryce Matthews before the trade, yeah, I'll be sneak watching them. But Correa coming back, it's kind of hard not to tune into them because the race that's happening in the AL West, like I'm watching it very closely, but because I live here, I'm also like, okay, I need to go to the games because it's very exciting to see them winning at this level. They've got a lot going on right now, and yeah, I am enjoying watching the Astros right now.
Shame. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I enjoy watching the Astros too, April. I stand with you. You mentioned that Cam Smith is an interesting person. I love he's fun to watch, obviously rooting for the young man. He's done an amazing job in the outfield from day one.
Right.
Being just thrown into the fire there. Cam Smith has been awesome to watch. Bryce Matthews is a follower of the platform. Obviously, we root for him big time. So to see him progress and get his opportunity for a little bit in the major leagues is fun to see. Malik's hometown hero, Taylor Trammell. Fantastic out there. Even Altuve. I think I told you guys on spring training, Altuve just seemed awesome. Seemed like an awesome guy. He just seemed like an awesome dude. And again, the things that happen around Altuve, he doesn't necessarily. It's not a reflection of who he is as a person. He seems like just like a really, really good guy. Hunter Brown's fun to watch pitch. They've got fun guys to watch in Houston, man. It's a fun team. Jeremy Pena's fun to watch, and now Carrera's fun to watch. I'm excited to see how they finish up and what fortifies that lineup there. And the AL West is going to be fun, man. It's going to be fun to watch. And that's where I would have went to. We talked about it. I won't belabor the point. Seattle Mariners are just amazing must-watch TV if you're in that lineup. Randy's playing extremely well. Kyle Rowley's out of his mind. Julio Rodriguez has seemed to return to form a little bit as well. And when I say return to form, it just makes him amazing, like awesome.
Right.
Like Julio J-Rod's form, his baseline is so much just like out of this world good. And I think that's what has been a challenge for J-Rod, honestly, is that he's been decent, but everybody thought he was going to continue to be all world. And he's getting back to that all world form. Josh Naylor has been great since he came to Seattle, and Suarez is returning. But not to mention guys like Brian Wu and Logan Gilbert. This is a fun team to watch play.
Right.
And they're playing, obviously, we're on the East Coast. I'm on the East Coast, not everybody. Lobo's over there. But I mean, again, it is an East Coast biased consumer league. Right. And so it is tougher to watch the teams on the West Coast, even if you're a fan. And I think Seattle is a team that you just have to watch, and you got to see them to realize how good they are,
right?
But also how good they've been since the All-Star break. And they're only a game and a half behind. Houston has no room for error because if Seattle gets that opportunity with the pitching they have and now in this lineup they have, I knew they won the trade deadline, but it is that lineup is scarier than I thought. JP Crawford has had a very decent season, and I think they moved him in the lineup to like 8th or 9th.
Yeah,
he's really good.
He's like a second leadoff man.
He's so good. They're just a fun, and they're a fun team to watch. I know Flobo really wanted the Los Angeles Angels to be that team, but
that's coming, man. They're going to the playoffs, man. I swear.
They're currently beating my Dodgers, so
freeway series.
Well, yes, this has been another great time, another great episode. Before we get out of here, we have to thank our partners one more time: the Players Alliance, Numbers Game Scorecards, Rebellion Harvest Sunflower Seeds, Minority Prospects. We've had a couple new members join the Discord recently. Okay. Thank you for that. If you do want to join the Discord and be a part of our community, just send us a message of the Black Baseball Mixtape, whether it's on email or Instagram message, do whatever. We'll get you in to the Discord there. There's been some new posting, new writing on the blog. Quite a bit of that is going on as well. It's actually starting to pay off some dividends there. So if you search blackbaseballmixtape.com, you'll see our wonderful blog website there. You'll see a lot of behind the scenes action, if you will. So there's a lot going on, a lot to look forward to as we go through this week. Some interesting series. Astros right now, and as they stand, it's 7, Red Sox 6. This is what are we gonna call this, Malik? Do we call it the Bregman Bowl? What do we do? We just have the Key Bryant Hayes Invitational. So now we've got the Alex Bregman revenge series.
Salsa, the salsa bowl, I guess.
Yep. Well, again, I mentioned it a couple times. Hunter Green pitches on Wednesday, but they are playing it's going to be a very tough matchup because the Reds are playing the Phillies in this series, and that's a fun series of the series to watch. I would say Phillies, Reds, and Red Sox, Astros are probably the ones on the calendar. There's that Padres Giants, but
unfortunately,
Giants are kind of falling off, right?
As I knew they would. Yeah.
It brings April so much joy.
I mean, 500 ain't that bad.
Laugh.
Yeah, they're 500. They're 9 games out of the division, so that part of it is probably over. Mm-hmm. Are they? Let me
4
just
games
quickly,
out of the wild card.
Yeah, where are they at the wild card?
4 games. 4 games.
Ouch.
Doable, maybe.
Yeah, they just need to catch some fire, catch some Bay Area fire, and just do something.
Lee.
All right. Well, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we will catch you next time. Have a good night. And we are.